For those of you that know that I'm a tournament walleye fisherman. But what you don't know is that I love chasing smallmouth bass, especially on the Great Lakes. When I got a chance to film a smallmouth show, I called up Adam Rasmussen. He's a good friend of mine. So we're gonna go out here in late fall. We're gonna be fishing the northern stretches of Door County. We're gonna fish them pretty deep, probably 30 to 40 feet of water. Adam tells me there's big bass that are biting on swim baits and probably some ARigs. So we're gonna go out here and bounce around today, 32 degrees outside, and see if we can dredge up some of these giant smallmouths in northern Green Bay. So join us and we'll show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite. Yes, we
Sturgeon Bay in Door County, Wisconsin has become a very popular destination for giant smallmouth bass. In order to target these big smallies, you have to brave the big waves often found on Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, get the net. Ready? Yeah. That's a good one. Not as big as I thought.
Still not a bad one.
Still a good
nice
one,
fish.
no doubt. Yeah, some of them you just grab onto and you're like, they're just heavier than normal. You know, I'm starting to get the rhythm. That's the whole thing. It's like you got to get the weight down there, you got to get it right on the bottom and just start working it. It's not easy to do in the waves, and then it's 30-some feet of water.
Yeah, you really got to concentrate.
If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to catch them. So. Super awesome fish. Let them go. Keep catching. Nice.
20-foot or larger heavy fiberglass boats are a common choice for many anglers. But something that not all fiberglass boats have are trim tabs. Trim tabs make running big waves significantly easier and more comfortable.
So one of the coolest things on my 21-foot Ranger is the new zip wake system. For those of you that don't know about it, what it is a built-in trim tab. And if you don't know what trim tabs are, they basically adjust the ride of your boat. You can adjust your boat left and right and then bow down and bow up. It gives you a really customizable ride when you're out in big waves like we are here in Green Bay. There's two things the zip wake does. It lets me do it automatically, so it does everything for me. It's got what they call a gyro system in there, so it automatically levels my boat out for me. But what I like to do is run mine on manual, because manual I can now customize my ride. It's real easy to do on this system. It's got a round wheel here. If I spin it to the left, that adjusts my boat to list to the left. If I roll it to the right, and my boat adjusts to the right. If I use the little wheel in the middle, that adjusts my pitch, so I can bring my bow down so it's not jumping up the waves and getting too high up in the air. So that'll really help you, make the day on the water a little more enjoyable.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. And PowerPole Total Boat Control. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by Precision Trolling Data, the authority for crankbait diving depth information. Seeing an umbrella rig move through the clear waters of Sturgeon Bay seems almost unreal.
The reason this works so good this time of year is An ARig or an umbrella rig is supposed to resemble a school of bait fish. That's it right there going through the water column. These fish are feeding up for fall, and that gets their attention. And then of course we've got 3 swim baits on the back of it. That's our legal number in Wisconsin. So you got the school of bait, tracks them, gets them up, 3.5-inch swim bait on the back, smallmouth.
Smallmouth.
Pretty simple recipe. So when you're fishing in the late fall like this, these fish are starting to head to where they're going to winter for the year. In the Great Lakes, that means they're going to these really steep breaks, you know, bluff walls where they can be up in 30, 40 feet of water feeding on alewives and smelt, shad, you know, whatever the case may be. And they can quickly move off into deeper water where that water is more stable for them. So these steep breaks give these fish quick access to food. They also give them access to deep water where they can break off, you know, go rest and relax for the winter time. There's one. Yeah, this one feels a little better.
Spot lock. All right.
Feels like a good one.
A good one? Come on, be a big one.
Lucky for me, I don't have to be on the bow either.
Coming behind you. Yep. There we go.
Nice. That's a nicer one there.
Fatty. That's a fatty. Whew.
Just ticked it too.
Tell you what, just battling these waves is hard enough, sitting up in the bow.
Thanks for taking the motor though. I get a day off. Normally I'm the guy that's got to be on the motor guiding out here all the time.
I know.
But yeah, it's a little better fish. Made a little move here, and hopefully there's some bigger ones on this. We actually moved to a kind of a little flat hump off of these steep breaks.
Just a new spot, and we've been here about 5 minutes, so hopefully there's a bunch. All right.
All right. Sweet.
All right.
Total Control, presented by PowerPole. 20 years of trust evolved from Total Boat Control.
You know, for a lot of years, the PowerPole is just beginning to get more and more important in our fishing arsenal. And one of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about is how easy PowerPole has made it to basically control this thing from anywhere in your boat. One of the features here, and I use these a ton, are actually the foot switches. And I have these mounted all the way in the bow of my boat. So basically an up and a down foot switch, very, very simple. You also, with the PowerPole blades, get a dash switch. Now the last thing that I want to cover is something that has really a lot of different options in terms of the whole PowerPole system, and it's the use of your cell phone on the Sea Monster app. But you actually can obviously control the PowerPole through your Sea Monster app, and whether you have iPhone or Android, you just download that app. It's a free app to use. But one of the things that I wanted to cover is many people have asked throughout the years, if you have a shorter garage door, what do you do? And with all these different options to basically control the PowerPole, you know, obviously we're looking at the height of this one. It's a 10-foot blade, so it's pretty high. And for about 7 years, I had an 8-foot garage door. So I would have to put the PowerPole down a little bit to get into the entrance and then bring it back up to back it all the way in, because I had a garage where my boat just barely fit. And that's pretty common throughout the country. So what I will tell you to do, and it will make your life so much easier, is with all these different options, you have a lanyard, you have foot switch possibilities where you could even just put them in your truck. You have a dash console. Make sure you have something in your truck that when you get back home, specifically, it always seems like you're getting back home at night, you can simply just lower that PowerPole without having to get out of your truck, back it in, raise that PowerPole back up, and get your boat all ready to go in your garage. So many different options that PowerPole gives you to control this thing. And I'll tell you what, every single year that goes by, this thing is getting more important into our fishing arsenal, whether it's casting or trolling techniques.
ARigs are not the easiest bait to fish. The cadence is very specific and difficult to do, especially in big waves.
What was the deal with that one? You're like fishing out of the back of the boat, dragging?
I was. When we kind of rounded the point, we were drifting parallel with it. I just started throwing out at an angle and just dragging it just to, you know, we're fishing at 35 to 40 feet of water.
Yep.
So that way I can keep my bait down in the strike zone longer. Otherwise, if you're casting, you're only really getting half of your cast.
But having the right equipment for casting and retrieving such a large bait can make things easier.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, looks like a real one.
Same thing again, like right when I'm bringing it up.
Looks
It's a
like
good fish. It might be the one.
Got me running up to the front of the boat too much now.
Nice. All right. There he is.
A little nicer one.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That's a nice fatty.
Oh yeah, that's a better
Look
one.
at the fat. Look at that gut on that thing. Holy cow. Spot lock? Yep, good. That thing is a toad. I mean, he's short, fat.
Yeah.
You know, reminds me of like springtime fishing.
Dude.
Catch them pre-spawn. I mean, look at how wide that thing is.
Yeah. Well, they're feeding up before winter.
It's crazy thick. That fish isn't probably what? 18 inch, 17 and a half?
17, 18.
Probably close to 4. I mean, he's 3.5 to 4.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, but so fun.
They're thick this time of year.
So fun. I love it. All right. When it comes to throwing ARigs, the equipment you use is pretty specific for being efficient, throwing these heavy lures out there and doing it the right way. And when it comes to rods, you definitely want a longer rod than a shorter one. Something in that 7.5 to 8 foot. Right now I'm using a 7'11". The longer rod's going to help you kind of get that bait going through the air. And you got to remember, these things are pretty heavy. So to get a nice lob out there and get a good cast, you want a longer rod. When it comes to actions of the rod, something in a medium heavy or heavy action is where you want to be, but when it comes to the tip action, you want to be something in the fast category. You definitely don't want to lean towards extra fast. Extra fast is going to be a little too quick for you. It's going to be harder to cast. As far as the reels go, you want a reel with a slower gear ratio. You want something in that 6-to-1 to maybe a 6-8-to-1 gear ratio. Slower gears are going to help you bring that bait in a lot more efficient. If you're winding a fast gear ratio reel, you're going to wear yourself out trying to pull this through the water. So keep it slow. Last but not least is the line. Fluorocarbon line is what everybody uses that I know that fishes ARigs. Something in that 20-pound test, which is what I'm throwing today, up to maybe a 25-pound test fluorocarbon. You know, can you use braid? Yeah, you can, but you're not going to get as many bites as you would using fluorocarbon. And you also got to take into consideration the clarity of the water. Today we're fishing pretty clear water, so fluorocarbon is definitely going to get you more bites. So those are the key components in rod, reel, and line that you need to throw an ARig and catch some of these nice smallmouths. Yeah, he's pulling a lot harder.
Staying down like a good one.
There he is. Yeah, that's a good one. Ready, Adam?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Chunker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like them. I like them.
Little football.
Yeah.
Right when you set the hook on that one, I had like 12 bites in one cast.
Did you really?
Just feel them thunk, thunk,
Pecking at
thunk.
it. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Big, fat, solid fish. Yep. Another spot we just pulled up to and it's bang, bang, you know. You have a few bites, I catch one.
Goofy day like that. We pull up on a spot, we get a few, and then it dies. Move.
And catch a few more, but so much fun to catch these things. I can't. Throwing this crazy thing, this ARig is just insane. it's just crazy. You gotta try it if you haven't used them before. Try an ARig early spring or late fall like this, and just have a blast.
Anytime you have fish schooling, You know, and they're
Yeah.
feeding it. They're not feeding on the bottom on crayfish, stuff
Right.
like that. They're feeding on
Minnow.
shad, minnows, smelt, alewives,
Right.
shiners.
Yep, that is the time to use that stuff. And it always happens early spring and late fall.
Yep.
So there you go.
Clean water, dirty water. I've done it on the Mississippi River.
It works.
Yeah,
Yep.
works everywhere.
There you go. Let her go. See ya, girl.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Berkeley. Catch more fish. Lowrance. Find, navigate, dominate. Precision Trolling Data. The authority in diving depth info. And PowerPole. Total Boat Control. Hot topics, leading information and tackling techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
When it comes to multi-species boats, props are very important. It's one of those things that really can dictate the performance of your boat. And a lot of us think right away is we want to find the prop that is the fastest, that's going to make our boat go the fastest. But a lot of times what you sacrifice is a lot of handling and performance on the low end. And what I like to do a lot of times is find that prop where it's going to make my boat go the fastest, but also have another prop that is maybe a pitch or a pitch and a half less for situations like maybe bodies of water like Lake Erie, Green Bay, or even the reservoirs out west, Lake Sakakawea, that are very rough where you're rarely ever going to see that top speed, because I want to have all that power and handling down low for climbing big waves. But what it's also going to do is it's going to help your fuel consumption. When you're running a higher pitch prop for more speed, when you're going slower in that rougher water, you're having to use more throttle, and a lot of times put the throttle all the way down to climb that wave or speed up or slow down. Now we're a little bit lower pitch, a little bit lower gear, you're going to have to be able to back off that throttle a lot more because the throttle response is going to be there. So at the end of the day, you're going to have more performance, a smoother ride in those rougher water situations with a lower pitch prop. Now you might sacrifice a couple miles an hour or so, but more times than not, you're never going to see that because you're never going to have to use it. And so it's one of those things where you can really take advantage of the use of these multi-species boats that are very sensitive to weight and obviously rough water, and carry two props, your speed prop and then your all-around handling prop can make a big difference on how your boat performs on where you go.
Knowing the intricacies of fishing an ARig is one reason why Adam always performs well in bass tournaments in Door County. While retrieving the bait, there are very fine details that really help entice a bite from a big smallmouth.
It's one thing to remember when you're fishing a swimming style bait like this, whether it's just a single swim bait or an umbrella rig, is changing up your cadence. You know, fish tend to follow baits like this a lot as they're suspended through the water column. So a lot of times what I like to do is kill it, let that bait flutter to the bottom, as well as, you know, speed up my retrieve, get my swim bait to do something different to get those fish to strike. As soon as we get below the boat and we start bringing up our umbrella rigs off the bottom, we've gotten bit quite a few times today. You know, it's just doing something different. So that's important, to always change up your cadence, see what the fish want, get your bait doing something different to get those following fish to bite, and that'll help you get more bites throughout the day.
All right, spot locked, ready to roll. Oh, I see him.
Nice!
Look at the size of that one. Holy cow.
That's what we came out here for, bud.
Oh my. Look at that thing.
Brute.
Guy should almost weigh something like that, isn't it? Holy cats.
That one's upper fours, maybe
He's
five.
pushing 5. Yeah, he's pushing 5. Look at that thing. What do they call these? Chandeliers?
Chandeliers, umbrellas, ARig.
Yeah. What a day though, huh? I mean,
It's been fun, caught a lot of fish.
starting off the morning and the wind and the waves and the cold, and then now all of a sudden it's flattened out, the sun's out.
Big ones
Bango.
are biting.
Bango. I mean, That's what everybody chases out here, is those big 5-pound smallies. And you know, to do it on something different, honestly, I've only caught one fish on ARig in my life until now, and you know, we probably caught 15 of them on it today.
Yeah.
And it is a really cool way to fish, especially in early spring and late fall like this. So, you know, I really appreciate you kind of showing me how to catch these things on ARigs, because it is so cool. Look at that thing.
I'm glad we could get out here and do it. It's been a while since we fished together.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. What a day, huh?
Nice to sneak out a little bit more before deer season's in full swing.
Yep. Deer season's next, so.
All right,
awesome.
well, let's let this girl go.
All right, buddy.
A lot of times it triggers a bite, you know, do-over. And it's important to remember this do-over again.
Oh.
How's that one?
I got him.
How's that?
Cool.
Natural.
He always wants like 7 of them, so.
Two props for those situations where maybe it's a body. Let me just restart.
He's probably gonna catch one.
I looked at the graph. We went over 4 or 5 of
I
them,
know,
pitched
I
behind the
saw
boat.
That's funny. Barely hooked.
Probably one of the smallest ones we got today.
Yep. No matter what, they're fun to catch.
They're all fun. They all fight. Pound for pound, this is one of the hardest fighting fish in freshwater.
I mean, what do you say about these? They're just fun to catch, and it's getting nice out, sun's coming out, the waves are getting smaller. And just keep whacking on them.